Cyclone Niran off the Far North Queensland coast has intensified to a Category 2, keeping communities in the region on alert. And there's been some really extensive damage to banana crops, and there are still many people without power. Reporter Jemima Burt joins us now from Cairns. Jemima, g'day. So how's the storm tracking now?
Good morning, Joe. Well, Cyclone Niran's hovering about 350 kilometres off the Cairns coast where I am right now. I'm on the Esplanade. It's looking a bit overcast but fairly still, and we've only had some light rain this morning, but the community's on alert. Cairns, Port Douglas and Cooktown are all looking in case these 100-kilometre-an-hour winds come through. That's if the cyclone moves at all westward. Now, it's predicted to move southeast and intensify to a Category 3 cyclone over the next 36 hours. But these communities are remaining on alert. We know our SES crews are ready to go until Thursday. And as you mentioned, there are still about 4,000 people without power in the Cairns region.
Yeah, and Jemima, we've seen some really shots of extensive damage to banana crops. What can you tell us about what's happened to the agriculture in the region?
Yeah, Joe, as you well know, there's an extensive banana farming region just south of Cairns around that Tully, Innisfail area. We've seen some drone vision from the Banana Growers Council of trees that have been ripped and, you know, they're looking really bare. These farmers are, have produced crops against all the odds this year, bad prices and difficulties with staffing, and now this is just the last straw that's come in. A lot of them were saying they've lost, more than 80%, between 80 and 100% of their crops, so that's absolutely devastating. There has been some structural damage in Cairns and in the urban areas as well, but those banana farmers have really seen the worst of it.
And is the energy provider up there giving any indication as to when everyone will be back on the grid?
Well, actually they've done a fairly good job, Joe. So
right.
on Monday afternoon, 40,000 people were without power, about 42,000 people around the Cairns Regional Council, Cassowary Coast Council and Tablelands Council areas, and they've worked to get most of those back online. I think there are about 4,000, between 4,000 and 5,000 still without power, but those people have been without power for 2 nights now, so I'm sure they'd be eager for a hot shower and to make some food at home themselves.
And Jemima, what's the discussion up there in North Queensland about this cyclone? Because it was kind of hanging off the coast, and is it the case that people thought it wasn't going to be as fierce as it was and it crept up on them a bit?
Absolutely. People were not expecting the ferocity of what came on Monday afternoon. As we discussed, it's not crossing the coast. Niran's not crossed the coast and it won't cross the coast. And these winds were up to 95 kilometres an hour in some places around this area. And we've seen sheds destroyed. There was one shed that I went out to yesterday. I spoke to a couple and their shed had survived 30 years and 5 cyclones, but it couldn't survive on Monday, the strong winds. There was a tree next door that maybe about half a metre in diameter that just keeled over and absolutely destroyed their sheds. So it was out of the blue, and there were warnings, current, and we knew that there was severe weather on the way, but I think it surprised everyone that, it wasn't a cyclone, but it was cyclonic conditions. Yeah.
Okay, Jemima Burt reporting there from the Esplanade in Cairns. And we'll be having a chat to a banana grower in the next half hour or so, just to the south of Innisfail near Meridian there. Brisbane residents are facing a big clean-up after some areas were battered by severe weather. Reporter Michael Rennie joins us now from Brisbane. Geez, Michael, yeah, looks like some damage there behind you, huh?
Yeah, Joe, look, I'm out at Springfield Lakes. This damage to this home was actually done last year during that wild hailstone on Halloween that happened here. So, yeah, but this area yesterday was hit particularly hard by this thunderstorm that came rolling in yesterday afternoon. It sort of caught everyone by surprise because it was a sunny, balmy day one minute, and then the next minute the skies went black and the clouds came rolling in. It didn't look like much on the radar either, but it certainly did pack a punch. Not far from here, 70 mils at Greenbank, and it was a similar story over the north side of the river too. We saw at Mitchelton around 61 millimetres of rain falling there. So both sides of the river copping a drenching, and a lot of people losing power as well during the storm. 18,000 homes without power at one point, but Energex has got that down to under 300 this morning. So they worked well into the night to get that done, and over 100,000 lightning bolts recorded as well. There were call-outs from SES volunteers, around 80 call-outs throughout the night. So a big storm, a big clean-up today, but this area in particular, would have obviously been disappointed with, or would have been worried during that storm yesterday, Joe.
Yeah, so Michael, tell us a bit more about where you are at Springfield there. So, and you mentioned there was a hailstorm there last year. So is that house behind you, the roof was ripped off and they were actually in the process of putting a new roof on?
That's right, Joe. And this house is probably one of the lucky ones, if you like, because they are getting the roof put back on here this morning. When we got here earlier on, the tarp that was on this roof had actually been ripped off by that storm, and that's a similar story throughout here, a lot of the houses along here. Luckily, the owners of this home aren't living here at the moment, but there are a lot of people that are still in their homes in Springfield Lakes that had those tarps ripped off, so just more damage to their home. And the reason why a lot of these homes are still covered in tarps and haven't had their roofs fixed is just the demand on roof repairers at the moment, and also issues with insurance companies not being able to sort out the right way of actually going about getting these roofs replaced. And a lot of people disappointed and angry with insurance companies. You can imagine what it's like having a family trying to live in a home that's got a tarp over the roof. I actually spoke to the owners of this home a little bit earlier in this morning, Kathy and Peter Morcus. Let's have a listen to what they said.
Yeah, all you have to do is just look on the Facebook sites, and people who've had work started, and with the storm yesterday, they're basically back to square one again, or maybe even have more damage. My daughter's place down the road, she has a lot more damage from yesterday's storm than ever before. Yeah, it's pretty hard to sort of keep it together as a community.
And Joe, just to give you an idea of the damage that was done out here, when you're walking along the footpath here and all around us, there's actually the indents and the signs of that hailstorm, hail that fell here at the end of October last year. You can just see it along the footpaths everywhere that you go. Some of the largest hail ever recorded in Australia fell here, and look, it's looking a little bit gloomy here this morning. So far, the rain's held off, and I'm sure the people who own this home will be hoping it does hold off so they can at least get the roof put back on today.
And so is that indents in concrete footpath or just the grass?
In concrete footpath, Joe. So
wow.
Like you're walking along, it's everywhere that you go around Springfield. You can just see these indents of where this huge hail fell, and it's not like just little patches.
Yeah.
You can get an idea of just how big some of this hail must have been, and how scary it would have been for the residents when that hail was falling here.
Yeah, okay. Michael Rennie reporting there from Springfield in Brisbane.